Okay, hi everybody, welcome to Day 2 Distance Learning. I tried to put Miss Fallon down for a nap and it didn't work. So she is going to be my teaching assistant today, and that's fun. Okay, so I got a couple of emails, questions wanting to clarify some of the directions for the first journal entry for Monday. The first question that I got was, how do we turn the journals in? Don't worry, you can't turn them into me right now. I don't want to receive a bunch of mail at my house. What you're going to do is you're going to turn them in when we come back fourth quarter, and that will be the first grade I give you for comp and grammar in the fourth quarter. It'll be a good amount of points, so you'll start the quarter out in good standing as long as your efforts through this week were good. And I'll just make sure you get credit for everything you're doing now then. So don't worry about that. It'll take care of itself. The other question I got was about the plant or the thing that you chose yesterday for Monday's entry that's greening up and changing. So you did a journal entry that you drew a picture of it and then you described it and told me about it, told me what it looks like, describing the color, if it looks like it's about to flower, if it looks like leaves are coming out. Let's do another entry Friday when we come back and check on it. We need to let enough days pass that we actually can see and observe change. So that will be a Monday and a Friday entry. And the bonus question. So I asked you what was making that pile of shells at the base of the tree. That was a red squirrel. A lot of you wrote in and that was your answer, or something close to it. That is the correct answer. What happens is squirrels are kind of funny critters. When there's a warm day in winter or where the sun is on their nest and it's a bit of a more mild day, not a harsh winter, they wake up and they're hungry, and so they go and they eat some of the walnuts that they've stashed away for the winter season to get them through. And then when the temperatures turn again, they go and snuggle back in their nests and sleep through the colder temperatures. So what you saw there was a squirrel that had a favorite perch and would go there to snack. And so there were probably like 50 or even 100 shells there. It was pretty neat to see. And then when I looked up the tree, you could see there was sort of a branch that was broken off, and it was a perfect squirrel perch. And that's where he had been sitting and munching. So that was the answer to that. 1,000 points to each of you who got that. Nice job. As for vocab, I'm just going to move right along. Unit 12. Okay, so last night's homework was to read the article and fill in the definitions. And tonight's homework, let me get to Unit 12 here, is going to be choosing the right word and synonyms and antonyms. You guys have done this 12 times now. This is your 12th unit, so you've done it 11 times. But you know the drill, you know how it goes, and you know the pace that you like to work at. So those are the next two items for the workshop book, and more to come for Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. Journal entries. So there's only one journal entry today. The journal entry today is for Tuesday 3/17. Call it memories in your table of contents, and then write that same date and title across the next page in your journal. The question is, what is your earliest memory? Explain it, describe it, storytell it. It should be 1 to 2 paragraphs. So I want you to think back, like what's the earliest things you remember? So just to give you an example, for me, this is probably from when I was about 3 years old, because it was in the first house that I grew up in. And it was Easter time, and I don't know if you guys do it this way, but we would put out coffee mugs and put the dye in the vinegar, and you lower the eggs down into it, and then you let them sit, and they pull the color from that dye. So when you pull them out, you have like a purple egg, a red egg, green egg, whatever. Well, we were done dyeing our eggs, and we had taken the mugs, and we were pouring the colors down the sink. So I remember standing on my stool, pulling myself up to the sink, looking down in the sink like this. So I was really tiny. and watching the dye kind of swirl around the sink and go down the drain, and the colors were mixing. It's one of my first memories. So a lot of memories that you have an emotional tie to them, feeling safe with mom or dad, happy, sad. Typically when you have a memory from that early, it's because there is an emotional attachment to it. So tell me in story form. I want to know about that. I've not ever had this as a journal entry before, and I'm curious what you all are going to respond with. Last but not least, Sundial of the Seasons. All right. This entry is called The Miracle of Sap. Now the red osiers come to life, and all the willows quicken. Those gardeners who have grapes to prune know how early the sap moves and how full and even profligate it is its flows. It is almost as though the trees and shrubs and vines were ready to burst with the pressure. One is tempted to say that it is the pressure of the sap which forces the leaves from their buds. It isn't that, of course. It's much more complex. But the sap is there, with its own mysterious pressure. The time comes when days lengthen, frost eases from the ground, and the seep and melt and rainfall of spring are everywhere. Then the sap moves. On a warm day after a chill night, it surges upward. Several gallons will come from a single tap on a maple tree on such a day. Nightfall, and it slackens or stops completely, only to resume the next day. And not only in the maples, an evergreen with a fresh gash will ooze for days at this time of year. Green life is no longer a complete mystery. We know a good deal about the leaves and chlorophyll, and even about the movement and chemical makeup of sap. But there are some things, even about such a simple fluid as sap, that still elude us. We know something about how it travels up and down a tree trunk, and where and why and when. We aren't sure what happens to it in a leaf, though we now know a good deal about photosynthesis. We aren't quite sure about the upward flow in spring and the recession of the sap in the fall, and we don't know a great deal about sap pressure. But there it is, the quickening of the lifeblood of our whole green world. Such a simple thing, and so mysterious. All right, so my next 1,000-point bonus question for you is, how many gallons of sap does it take to make a gallon of maple syrup? Some of you may have learned this when you went to Sugarbush. Excuse you. When you went to Sugarbush. But if you didn't go on that field trip, that's okay. You can use Google to look it up. But I'm just curious, how many gallons does it take to make of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup? Okay, so email me your answers to that bonus question. Write your journal entries in your journal. Do your vocab homework in your vocab book. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'll answer all of them. I'm around all day. And I hope you have an awesome Tuesday. I hope you get outside and breathe some fresh air and go poke around. Boredom is okay. Go wander. Go find something to observe. Have fun. Be safe. Be healthy. See you guys tomorrow.